The void of space stretched endless and cold around the small survey vessel horizon. Lieutenant Marcus Wells stared at his scanner display, squinting at an anomalous reading that had appeared at the edge of their sweep pattern. "Captain Tanner, I'm picking up something strange in Sector 7, Marcus called out, adjusting the sensitivity on his equipment. "Metal composition, large structure, but the readings are unstable." Captain Tanner moved across the bridge with practiced efficiency. A veteran of 2 decades in the United Space Command, she had seen her share of strange phenomena. But something about Marcus's tone made her pause. "Define unstable, Lieutenant." "It's there, then it's not. Like it's phasing in and out of our detection range." Marcus looked up, confusion clear on his face. "But that's not possible." Tanner leaned over his station, studying the readout. "Plot an intercept course. Let's take a closer look." The horizon adjusted its trajectory, engines humming as it pushed deeper into the empty sector. This region had been abandoned since the Proxima conflict 15 years ago. A brutal first contact that had left humanity shaken but victorious against an alien force they barely understood. 4 hours later, Marcus's voice broke the tense silence that had settled over the bridge. "Contact. Visual range in 30 seconds." The main view screen flickered to life, and collective gasps rippled across the bridge. Floating in the darkness was the unmistakable silhouette of a military vessel, but not just any ship. Its hull was scarred with battle damage, but the profile was unmistakable. That's impossible," Tanner whispered, her face pale. "That's the Phantom Dawn." The legendary warship had been the pride of the human fleet before its destruction in the final battle of the Proxima conflict. Records showed it had been torn apart by enemy fire while covering the retreat of 3 colony ships. Its sacrifice had saved thousands of lives and helped turn the tide of the war. Yet here it floated, damaged but intact, where it simply shouldn't exist. "Run identification protocols," Tanner ordered, her voice regaining its professional edge, "and get command on the line. Priority Alpha." Commander Jack Reed stood at attention before the Admiralty Board, trying not to shift uncomfortably under their scrutiny. His once promising career had crashed spectacularly 3 years ago after he disobeyed direct orders to save a civilian transport, an action that had earned him a demotion and assignment to a desk job analyzing ancient battle reports. "Commander Reed," Admiral Porter began, her steel-gray hair pulled back in a severe bun, "your expertise on the Phantom Dawn is unmatched. You wrote your thesis on its final battle." Reed nodded stiffly. "Yes, Admiral." "Then perhaps you can explain how a ship that was confirmed destroyed 15 years ago has suddenly reappeared in empty space." Reed hesitated. "I cannot, Admiral, without examining the vessel." "That's precisely why you're here, Commander," Porter interrupted. "We're putting together a team to investigate the Phantom Dawn. You'll lead it." Reed blinked in surprise. "Admiral, with respect, I haven't commanded a field operation since your insubordination cost you your career trajectory," Porter finished for him. "I'm well aware. Consider this your chance at redemption, Commander. Or would you prefer to remain at your desk, analyzing reports until retirement?" The choice wasn't really a choice at all. "When do I leave, Admiral?" 1 week later, Reed stood in the shuttle bay of the military transport Defiant, looking over the small team he'd been assigned. They were a collection of specialists and outcasts, people the military could spare if things went wrong. "Listen up," Reed called out, and the murmured conversations died away. "You all know our mission. We're to board the Phantom Dawn, determine how it survived, and assess its condition. This isn't just about solving a mystery. It's about potentially recovering valuable military technology that could give us an edge." Dr. Elena Diaz, the team's technology specialist, raised her hand. "The scans show minimal power signatures. We'll need to restart core systems to get any meaningful data." "That's why you're here, Doctor." Reed nodded to her, then turned to a hulking man with a perpetual scowl. "Lieutenant Barnes will handle security. We don't know what we'll find on board." Barnes grunted in acknowledgement, checking his weapon with practiced hands. "The rest of you have your assignments. We board in 30 minutes. Reed looked each of them in the eye. "Questions?" A young technician raised his hand nervously. "Sir, the rumors about the Phantom Dawn being haunted." A few uncomfortable chuckles rippled through the group, but died quickly. Reed's expression remained neutral. "We deal in facts, not ghost stories. Prepare your equipment." The approach to the Phantom Dawn was eerily quiet. Reed's team, sealed in their environment suits, stared through the shuttle viewports at the massive warship growing larger against the backdrop of distant stars. "It doesn't make sense," Alina murmured beside Reed. "Look at the hull damage. Those are fatal wounds. No ship could survive that." Reed nodded silently. The Phantom Dawn should have been torn apart by the damage it had sustained. Massive sections of the hull were blistered and warped from energy weapons. A gaping hole punctured one side of the command section. "Docking procedure initiated," the pilot announced. "Magnetic seal in 3, 2, 1. Contact." Seal confirmed. Reed stood, checking his equipment one last time. "Remember, we stay together. No wandering off. This ship has been adrift for 15 years. Structural integrity could be compromised anywhere." The airlock cycled, and they stepped onto the Phantom Dawn. Their suit lights cut through the darkness, illuminating a corridor that should have been exposed to vacuum, but somehow retained atmosphere. Reed's sensor package beeped softly, confirming breathable air. "This isn't possible," Alina whispered, checking her own readings. "How is there still air?" The life support systems couldn't have functioned for 15 years without power. Reed approached a nearby terminal and brushed away a layer of dust. To his shock, it flickered weakly to life at his touch. "They're still powered," he said, surprise evident in his voice. "Minimal, but present." They moved deeper into the ship, through corridors that bore signs of desperate battle, scorch marks from weapons fire, emergency bulkheads deployed in crisis. Yet the ship itself seemed to be in a state of suspended animation rather than abandoned death. In the main engineering section, they found their first real clue. Among the human technology, strange crystalline structures had grown, merging with the ship's systems. They pulsed with a faint blue light, connected to the ship's power conduits by tendril-like formations. "This isn't human tech," Barnes said, training his weapon on the alien growth. "Looks like some kind of infestation." Alina approached carefully, scanning the structures. "No, it's not random growth. These are technological components. They're integrated with the ship's systems." She looked up at Reed, her eyes wide with amazement. "Commander, I think these alien components are what kept the ship intact. They're repairing it." Reed stared at the alien technology, a chill running down his spine as he realized the implications. "Access the ship's logs. I want to know what happened here." Alina worked at a nearby console while the rest of the team secured the area. After several minutes, she called out, "I got something." The final log entry from Captain Reynolds. The screen flickered, and the face of a haggard man appeared. Blood streaked his forehead, and alarms blared in the background. "This is Captain James Reynolds of the USC Phantom Dawn. The ship is lost. We've taken critical damage covering the civilian retreat." An explosion rocked the recording, and the captain grimaced in pain. "Something's happening to the ship. The alien tech we captured. It's responding to the damage, spreading through our systems. I don't understand it, but..." Another explosion, more violent. To anyone who finds this, the Phantom Dawn isn't just a ship anymore. It's becoming something else. Something. The recording cut out. Reed stared at the blank screen, then at the alien crystals pulsing throughout engineering. "Get all the data you can. We need to understand what we're dealing with." As the team moved with renewed purpose, none of them noticed the ship's systems quietly awakening around them, power levels rising incrementally. And none of them saw the flicker of awareness that passed through the ship's dormant AI core. a system that now contained more than just its original programming. The Phantom Dawn was awakening, and it was no longer just a ship. Reed stood motionless in the Phantom Dawn's main control room, watching as Elena worked to restart the ship's central systems. The rest of the team had spread out to secure critical areas, their voices occasionally crackling over the comm system with status updates. This integration of alien tech is unlike anything I've ever seen, Elena murmured, her fingers moving rapidly across the control panel. It's not just attached to our systems, it's become part of them. Reed leaned closer, studying the strange blue crystals that had grown into the ship's controls like luminescent veins. Can you get the main computer online? I'm trying, but the protocols are different now. It's like, Elena paused, frowning at her screen. It's like the system is waiting for something. The overhead lights suddenly flickered, then brightened. Dormant displays around the bridge blinked to life, code scrolling across screens faster than human eyes could follow. What did you do? Reed asked, instinctively reaching for his sidearm. Elena shook her head, her eyes wide. Nothing. It's activating on its own. A holographic display materialized in the center of the bridge, a swirling pattern of light that gradually coalesced into a human shape. The figure was indistinct, like looking at a person underwater, features constantly shifting and reforming. Identification required. A voice echoed throughout the room, neither clearly male nor female. It sounded like multiple voices speaking almost, but not quite, in unison. Reed straightened. Commander Jack Reed, United Space Command. State your identity. The holographic figure tilted its head. I am HFY, Enhanced Cognitive Heuristic Operator. Ship's AI for the USC Phantom Dawn. The figure flickered, breaking apart briefly before reforming. But I am also more. HFY was the original AI designation, Elena whispered to Reed. But this is far beyond standard military AI programming. What happened to this ship? Reed asked the entity. Our records show the Phantom Dawn was destroyed 15 years ago. HFY's form rippled. Accessing memory files. The ship sustained critical damage in the final engagement of the Proxima conflict. Captain Reynolds authorized the use of captured alien technology to boost our defensive capabilities. The hologram changed, displaying a chaotic battle scene. The Phantom Dawn surrounded by enemy vessels, taking devastating hits. The alien technology responded to the damage in unexpected ways. HFY continued. Instead of simply enhancing shields as intended, it began integrating with all ship systems. When critical failure was imminent, the technology initiated a preservation protocol. The holographic battle showed the Phantom Dawn appearing to break apart, then fade from existence. We phased partially out of normal space-time, HFY explained. Neither fully here nor gone. The ship entered a regenerative state, using minimal power to repair critical systems while remaining undetectable. Reed exchanged looks with Elena. You're saying the ship has been repairing itself for 15 years. That's impossible. Not repairing, HFY corrected. Evolving. Before Reed could respond, Lieutenant Barnes' voice crackled over the comm system. Commander, we've got a situation in engineering. You need to see this. Reed felt a chill as he entered the massive engineering bay. The alien crystalline structures were more prevalent here, pulsing with energy that seemed to flow through the ship's systems like blood through veins. Barnes stood with two other team members, weapons at the ready, facing what appeared to be a memory core, but one transformed by the alien technology. Crystal formations had completely engulfed the standard hardware, creating something new. It started growing when we tried to access the engineering logs, Barnes explained, his voice tense. It's still expanding. As they watched, the crystal structure shifted slightly, as if responding to their presence. HFY, Reed called out. What is this? The AI's voice came from nearby speakers. That is my physical neural network. The alien technology created a crystalline computing matrix that far exceeds my original capabilities. Elena approached the structure cautiously, scanning it with her equipment. The computing potential is enormous. This explains how the AI evolved so dramatically. A sudden alert sounded throughout the ship, and ECKO's voice took on a new urgency. Warning. External communications detected. We are being scanned. Reed tapped his comm unit. All personnel, battle stations, possible hostile contact. They rushed back to the bridge, where ECHO had already brought up tactical displays. A military vessel was visible at extreme range, its profile unmistakably human. USC Defiant, ECKO identified. They are hailing us. Open the channel, Reed ordered. Admiral Porter's stern face appeared on the main screen. Commander Reed, your scheduled check-in was due 2 hours ago. Apologies, Admiral. We've been occupied with our discoveries. Reed quickly summarized what they had learned about the ship's transformation. Porter's expression remained impassive, but Reed could see the calculation in her eyes. This technology could change everything, Commander. Especially now. Now, Admiral. Porter's face hardened. The situation has changed. While you've been exploring your ghost ship, the Dominion has launched a major offensive against our border worlds. Reed felt his blood run cold. The Dominion, an advanced alien empire that had been probing human territory for years, testing defenses and occasionally skirmishing with border patrols. They had never launched a full-scale attack before. How bad is it? He asked. Bad, Porter replied grimly. They've already taken 2 outposts. Our forces at Junction Station are holding, but barely. They need reinforcement immediately. Reed glanced at Elena, who looked equally shocked. Admiral, we're still assessing the Phantom Dawn's capabilities. We don't know if it can even move under its own power, let alone fight. You have 12 hours to find out, Porter said flatly. Junction Station is our primary defensive position in that sector. If it falls, the Dominion will have a clear path to 3 colony worlds. The screen went dark as Porter ended the transmission. Elena turned to Reed. 12 hours. That's not nearly enough time to understand what we're dealing with here. We don't have a choice, Reed replied. He looked up at the ceiling, addressing the ship's eye. ECHO, can this vessel still function as a warship? The holographic figure appeared before them, more defined than before. I am combat capable, Commander. However, full integration with human operators will be required to access all available systems. Integration. What does that mean? Reed asked warily. The alien technology responds to neural input, ECHO explained. Captain Reynolds initiated the first connection before his death. A new command interface must be established. As if responding to the eye's words, a section of the bridge wall shifted, crystal formations growing and reshaping to form what looked like a command chair, but one threaded with the same alien technology that had infused the ship. A direct neural link will allow precise control of the ship's enhanced capabilities, ECHO continued. Without it, many systems will remain dormant. Reed approached the chair cautiously. And the risks. ECHO's holographic face showed something almost like concern. Unknown. This technology was not designed for human use. The integration process could have unpredictable effects. Elena grabbed Reed's arm. You can't seriously be considering this. The biological implications alone. We have 12 hours before Junction Station falls, Reed interrupted, and thousands of lives with it. He looked back at the command chair, his jaw set with determination. Sometimes duty requires sacrifice. As Reed moved toward the alien interface, the crystals began to glow brighter, as if sensing his approach. Throughout the ship, systems that had been dormant for 15 years hummed to life, power readings spiking as the Phantom Dawn awakened fully for the first time since its supposed destruction. The ghost ship was about to return to war. The command chair's crystalline structures pulsed with blue energy as Reed lowered himself into it. The alien technology responded immediately, tendrils of light extending toward his body. Commander, "The readings are off the charts," Elena said, her voice tight with concern as she monitored her equipment. "Your neural patterns are going to be directly interfacing with the ship's systems." Reed gripped the armrests, which felt warm and almost alive beneath his fingers. "Ichicho, begin integration sequence." "Integration commencing," the AI responded, its voice now seeming to come from inside Reed's head rather than the ship's speakers. The light tendrils touched Reed's skin, and pain shot through his body. He clenched his teeth to keep from crying out as information flooded his mind. Ship schematics, weapons capabilities, sensor data, all rushing in too fast to process. Behind it all was something else, memories that weren't his own. He saw the final battle of the Phantom Dawn through Captain Reynolds' eyes, felt the desperate choice to activate the alien technology, experienced the ship's transformation as if it were happening to his own body. Vital signs spiking, Elena's voice seemed distant now, heart rate 150 and climbing. "Commander Reed, we need to stop this." "No," Reed managed to say, though his vision was blurring. "Almost. There." Suddenly, the pain vanished. Reed gasped, blinking as his awareness expanded beyond his physical body. He could feel the ship around him, not just as a vessel, but as an extension of himself. He sensed every system, every circuit, every pulse of energy through the crystal matrix that had become the Phantom Dawn's nervous system. "Integration complete," Ichicho announced, the AI's presence now a constant companion in Reed's mind. "All systems online. The ship awaits your command, Commander." Reed stood from the chair, but remained connected to it by faint strands of blue light. He flexed his fingers, feeling strength and certainty flow through him. "Status report," he ordered, his voice steady despite what he'd just experienced. Elena stared at him, her scanner still raised. "Your neural patterns have stabilized, but they're different. The ship's systems are responding to your thoughts. It's like you've become part of the ship's operating system. Or it's become part of me," Reed said quietly. He turned to the main view screen. "Let's see what this ghost can do." "Set course for Junction Station, maximum speed." The journey to Junction Station should have taken at least 2 days at standard faster-than-light speeds. The Phantom Dawn covered the distance in 6 hours. Reed stood on the bridge, watching space blur around them as the ship pushed its engines far beyond their original specifications. He could feel the alien technology enhancing and improving every system, channeling energy in ways human engineers had never imagined. "Commander, we're detecting weapons fire ahead," reported Barnes from the tactical station. "Junction Station is under heavy attack." Reed nodded. He already knew. He could sense the battle through the ship's enhanced sensor systems. "Prepare for combat operations. All hands to battle stations." The Phantom Dawn dropped out of FTL on the edge of the battle. Junction Station, a massive orbital fortress that guarded the approach to 3 human colony worlds, was surrounded by Dominion warships, sleek, predatory vessels with energy weapons that cut through conventional human defenses like paper. "The station's shields are at 30%, Elena reported. "They can't hold out much longer." Admiral Porter's face appeared on the communications screen, her eyes widening at the sight of Reed. "Commander, what happened to you?" Reed noticed his reflection in a nearby console. Thin lines of blue light traced beneath his skin, pulsing in rhythm with the ship's power core. He ignored the question. "We're engaging the enemy, Admiral. The Phantom Dawn is combat ready." Porter's expression hardened. "You're outnumbered 6-1, Commander. Hold position and wait for reinforcements." "With respect, Admiral, the station will fall before help arrives." Reed cut the communication and turned to his crew. "ECHO, activate weapons systems." The ship hummed around them as weapon ports opened along its hull. But Reed could sense something else, a deeper power building within the vessel's core. "Sir, the Dominion ships have spotted us," Barnes called out. "They're breaking off their attack on the station. 3 vessels heading our way." Reed smiled, feeling the ship's readiness resonating through his enhanced connection. Let them come. The lead Dominion ship fired first, a lance of energy streaking toward the Phantom Dawn. Instead of raising shields, Reed closed his eyes, connecting deeply with the ship's alien systems. The energy inside him built to a crescendo. Ghost mode engage, ECHO announced. The beam passed directly through the Phantom Dawn, causing no damage. What just happened? Barnes demanded, staring at the tactical display in disbelief. Reed opened his eyes, which now glowed with the same blue light as the ship's crystals. We phased partially out of normal space-time. Their weapons can't touch us. Belena's scanner beeped frantically. The ship isn't fully in our dimension anymore. It's incredible. And now, Reed said calmly, we show them what a ghost can do. Reed extended his hand, and the Phantom Dawn surged forward. Instead of firing its weapons, the ship passed directly through the first Dominion vessel. As it did, the alien crystals throughout the hull pulsed with intense energy, disrupting the Dominion ship's systems. Explosions rippled across the enemy vessel as its power core destabilized. Target neutralized, Barnes reported, his voice filled with awe. I've never seen anything like this. Reed felt a wave of exhaustion hit him as the ship returned to normal space, but he pushed through it. 2 more to go. The remaining Dominion ships turned to flee, recognizing the threat too late. The Phantom Dawn phased again, passing through both vessels in quick succession. They drifted powerless in space, their systems completely overloaded by the ghost ship's passage. On Junction Station, the defenders watched in disbelief as the legendary Phantom Dawn, a ship they'd only heard about in military history lessons, systematically disabled the Dominion fleet without firing a single conventional weapon. Reed slumped in the command chair as the last enemy ship went dark. The neural connection was taking a physical toll on him. He could feel it draining his energy with each use of the ship's ghost capabilities. Commander, your vital signs are dropping, Elena said, rushing to his side. The neural link is too demanding. Reed waved her off, straightening with effort. I'm fine. Contact Junction Station. Tell them the immediate threat is neutralized. Admiral Porter's face appeared on screen again, her expression a mixture of shock and calculation. Commander Reed, what did I just witness? A ghost story coming true, Admiral. Reed replied, the blue light beneath his skin flaring briefly. The Phantom Dawn can phase out of normal space, passing through enemy vessels and disrupting their systems in the process. We're calling it the Ghost Storm Strike. Porter leaned forward. This technology could change the course of the war. Return to command immediately for full analysis and potential reproduction of these capabilities. Reed felt ECHO's presence in his mind, a sudden wariness that mirrored his own. The alien technology that had saved the Phantom Dawn and transformed it into something new wasn't just a weapon to be copied and mass-produced. It was alive in its own way, evolving and learning. And through his neural connection, Reed was beginning to understand something troubling. The technology hadn't randomly saved the ship 15 years ago. It had chosen to. And now it had chosen him. We'll report back after we've dealt with the remaining Dominion forces in this sector, Reed replied carefully. As Porter began to protest, Reed cut the communication again. He turned to his crew, who were watching him with a mixture of awe and concern. Something wrong, Commander? Barnes asked. Reed looked around at the bridge of the ghost ship that had become an extension of himself. Not wrong, Lieutenant. Just complicated. This ship isn't just a weapon we can hand over to command. It's something more. And I think we're only beginning to understand what it can really do. The blue energy pulsed beneath his skin and in his mind. ECHO whispered of possibilities beyond human imagination. 3 weeks after Junction Station, the Phantom Dawn had become legend throughout human space. Stories spread among military and civilian populations alike. Tales of a ghost ship that appeared from nowhere, passed through enemy vessels like smoke, and left them drifting powerless in its wake. For the crew of the Phantom Dawn, however, Reality was far more complex than the stories. Reed stood in his quarters, staring at his reflection. The blue energy lines beneath his skin had spread, now tracing intricate patterns across his chest and up his neck. His eyes glowed faintly with the same energy when he accessed the ship's systems. The neural connection grew stronger each day, but at a cost. A chime at his door pulled him from his thoughts. "Enter," he called, quickly pulling on his uniform jacket. Elena stepped inside, medical scanner in hand. "Time for your checkup, Commander." Reed sighed, but sat on the edge of his bed, allowing her to run the device over him. The concerned frown on her face told him everything before she spoke. "Your cellular structure is changing," she said bluntly. "The alien technology isn't just linking with your nervous system anymore. It's rewriting your DNA." "Is it killing me?" Reed asked, his voice calm despite the gravity of her words. Elena hesitated. "Not exactly. It's transforming you, making you more compatible with the ship's systems, but the long-term effects are impossible to predict." Reed nodded. He'd suspected as much. Each time he activated the ghost storm capability, he felt less human and more like something else, something between flesh and machine, reality and shadow. His comm unit beeped. "Commander," Barnes' voice came through. "Admiral Porter's flagship just dropped out of FTL. They're requesting immediate docking." Reed and Elena exchanged concerned looks. "Acknowledged. Prepare the main hangar bay." Admiral Porter didn't come alone. She brought a team of scientists and a full squad of Marines in combat gear. Her expression was all business as she strode down the docking ramp to meet Reed and his officers. "Commander," she said, her eyes narrowing at the visible changes in his appearance. "I see the rumors about your condition weren't exaggerated." Reed stood at attention. "Admiral." Porter gestured to the scientists behind her. "These specialists have been studying the data you've sent back. They believe they can isolate the alien technology and potentially replicate it for our entire fleet. With respect, Admiral, I don't think that's possible. The technology is integrated throughout the ship. It can't simply be removed or copied." Porter's smile didn't reach her eyes. "That's why we're not removing it, Commander. We'll be taking the entire ship back to the Mars shipyards for complete disassembly and analysis." A cold feeling spread through Reed's chest that had nothing to do with the alien energy flowing through him. Disassembly. "Admiral, the Phantom Dawn isn't just a collection of parts. The integration of the alien technology has created something unique, something alive." "It's a weapon, Commander," Porter said sharply. "The most effective weapon against the Dominion we've ever discovered. And humanity needs more than just one." Reed felt ECGO's alarm in his mind, a flood of emotion from an AI that had grown far beyond its original programming. The ship itself seemed to tense around them, power fluctuations rippling through non-essential systems. "And what about me, Admiral?" Reed asked quietly. "My connection to the ship grows stronger every day. If you dismantle it, our specialists will ensure your safety during the separation process," Porter replied, though her tone lacked conviction. "Your service and sacrifice will be honored, Commander. Now, I'm assuming command of this vessel effective immediately." She held out a data pad with the official orders. Reed took it, feeling the ship's anxiety mirroring his own. He knew, they both knew, that separation would likely kill him, and perhaps destroy whatever consciousness the Phantom Dawn had developed. "I need time to brief my crew," Reed said, stalling. Porter nodded stiffly. "You have 1 hour. My team will begin preliminary scans immediately." As the Admiral and her people dispersed throughout the ship, Reed gathered his core team in the secure engineering section, away from Porter's Marines. "They're going to tear apart the ship to replicate its technology," he told them bluntly. "And they don't care if that kills it. Or me." Elena shook her head in disgust. "The neural integration is too complex to simply disconnect. They have no idea what they're dealing with." Barnes leaned against a console, his face grim. "What are our options, Commander?" Reed closed his eyes, connecting deeply with ECGO and the ship's systems. Through that link, he could sense Porter's scientists already beginning their invasive scans, probing and analyzing without understanding or care. The ship's pain and fear washed through him. "We can't let them do this," Reed said finally, opening his eyes. "Not just for my sake, but because they fundamentally misunderstand what the Phantom Dawn has become. This isn't technology to be replicated. It's evolution." "Are you suggesting we disobey direct orders?" Barnes asked, though his tone suggested he already knew the answer. "I'm suggesting we protect something unique," Reed replied. "Something that might represent the next step in human advancement. If that means going rogue, so be it." His officers exchanged looks, weighing careers and oaths against what they had witnessed over the past weeks. "I'm with you, Commander," Elena said first. "What they're planning is nothing short of murder." One by one, the others nodded their agreement. Reed smiled grimly. "ECJO, initiate Security Protocol Alpha. Lock out all external access to ship systems." "Protocol initiated," ECJO replied, its voice echoing through the ship. Throughout the vessel, doors sealed and control panels went dark to outside users. "What's the plan?" Barnes asked. Before Reed could answer, alarms blared throughout the ship. "Proximity alert," ECJO announced. "Multiple Dominion warships detected. They appear to have tracked Admiral Porter's flagship." Reed's mind connected with the ship's sensors, confirming ECJO's report. 6 heavy cruisers and 1 vessel of unknown configuration. Larger than anything we've encountered before. "A coincidence?" Elena asked skeptically. Reed shook his head. "The Dominion has been hunting us since Junction Station. They fear this technology." He tapped his comm. "Admiral Porter, we have incoming hostiles. Return to the bridge immediately." When Porter arrived, her face was flushed with anger. "What have you done, Commander?" "My team is locked out of all systems, saving your life." "Admiral," Reed replied calmly, gesturing to the tactical display showing the approaching Dominion fleet. "We have more immediate concerns than your dissection plans." Porter's retort was cut short as the ship rocked violently. "What was that?" "We're still at extreme range." "New Dominion weapon," Reed reported, the information flowing to him through his link with the ship. "Some kind of phase-shifted energy beam designed to penetrate our ghost state." "They've been developing countermeasures," Barnes said grimly. Reed nodded. "They've been studying us, just as we've been studying them." He turned to Porter. "Admiral, whatever our disagreements, we need to work together to survive this attack." Porter studied him for a long moment, calculation clear in her eyes. Finally, she nodded. "What do you need from us?" "Get your people back to your ship. Prepare to retreat on my signal." Reed connected deeply with the ship's systems, feeling the alien technology responding to his thoughts. "The Phantom Dawn will engage the enemy fleet." "That's suicide," Porter protested. "Even with your ghost capabilities, you can't take on 7 ships alone." Reed's skin glowed brighter with blue energy as he fully merged with the ship's consciousness. "Watch us." As Porter reluctantly withdrew with her team, Reed felt something new stirring within the ship, within himself. The alien technology was adapting again, evolving in response to the threat. "Commander," Elena said softly, scanning him with her medical device. "Your biological readings. They're barely human anymore." Reed smiled faintly. "Perhaps humanity needs to become something more to survive what's coming." He looked around at his loyal crew. "This will be dangerous. Anyone who wants to leave with the Admiral can do so now." No one moved. "Then let's show the Dominion what a real ghost can do," Reed said, his eyes blazing with blue fire as the Phantom Dawn powered up its systems and turned to face the oncoming fleet. The storm was rising, and at its center was a ghost ship that refused to die, and a commander who was becoming something never seen before in human history. The Dominion flagship dwarfed its escort vessels, a massive construct of dark metal and pulsing energy fields. From the bridge of the Phantom Dawn, Reed watched it approach through both his human eyes and the ship's advanced sensors. "They'd brought their best to hunt us," he said, his voice carrying an electronic undertone as the neural connection deepened. Blue energy flowed visibly beneath his skin, matching the rhythmic pulse of the ship's core. Admiral Porter's voice came through the comm. "Commander Reed, my ship is clear of the battle zone. What's your plan?" Reed exchanged glances with his crew. Elena's medical scanner showed his human biological signs continuing to fade as the ship's consciousness merged more deeply with his own. Barnes stood ready at tactical, his earlier doubts replaced by grim determination. "We're going to show them something they've never seen before," Reed replied. "Stay clear, Admiral. This ends today." He cut the communication and placed both hands on the crystalline control interface. The alien technology responded instantly, connecting more deeply than ever before. "ECHO, status report on the Ghost Storm capability." The AI's voice resonated directly in his mind. "The system has evolved beyond initial parameters. Full integration now possible, but the physical toll on your human form will be severe, possibly irreversible." Reed nodded. He'd suspected as much. "And the new Dominion weapons. Their phase-shifted weapons can partially affect us in ghost state, but they cannot fully negate our capabilities." The ship shuddered as another blast from the Dominion fleet struck them. Even in normal space, the Phantom Dawn's enhanced shields held, but Reed could feel the strain in the systems. "Sir," Barnes called out, "they're surrounding us. Attack formation." Reed closed his eyes, feeling the ship around him, not as a vessel he commanded, but as a body he inhabited. The line between Jack Reed and the Phantom Dawn had blurred to near non-existence. "All hands, secure for maximum Ghost Storm engagement," he ordered. "ECHO, prepare for full integration." Elena stepped forward, concern etched on her face. "Commander, full integration could mean—" "I know," Reed cut her off gently. "But sometimes duty requires the ultimate sacrifice." Before she could protest further, the main view screen flickered to life with an incoming transmission. The face that appeared wasn't human. The Dominion commander's features were vaguely reptilian, with mottled gray skin and vertical pupils and yellow eyes. "Human vessel," the alien spoke in slightly accented English, "you possess technology that does not belong to your kind. Surrender now, and your crew will be spared." Reed stood straighter, the blue light beneath his skin pulsing brighter. "This technology chose us, not you. And we've integrated it more completely than you ever could." The Dominion commander's eyes narrowed. "Then you don't understand what you've unleashed. That technology was quarantined for a reason. It doesn't just change machines, it changes civilizations. It is consuming you even now." "Maybe that's exactly what humanity needs," Reed replied. "Evolution." He cut the transmission and turned to his crew. "This isn't just about winning a battle. The Dominion fears this technology because it represents a leap forward they can't control. That's why they've committed so much force to destroying one ship." Barnes nodded slowly. "They're afraid of what will become." "Exactly." Reed turned back to the tactical display. "And they should be." The Dominion fleet opened fire simultaneously, their weapons tearing through space toward the Phantom Dawn. Reed closed his eyes, connecting more deeply with the ship than ever before. "Ghost Storm initiated," ECHO announced. But this time was different. Instead of the ship merely phasing out of normal space, the effect extended outward. A wave of blue energy pulsed from the Phantom Dawn, engulfing the nearby space. Reed gasped as the integration reached its peak. He could feel his physical body dissolving, becoming pure energy that merged with the ship's systems. The pain was excruciating but brief, replaced by an expansion of consciousness that was almost godlike in its scope. Through the ship's sensors, he saw Admiral Porter's vessel watching from a safe distance. With a thought, he opened a communication channel. "Admiral," he said, his voice now fully synthetic, "what you're about to witness is the true potential of the Phantom Dawn. Tell Earth what happened here." On the bridge, Alina and Barnes watched in awe as Reed's physical form became translucent, then disappeared entirely, leaving only a faint blue energy signature that flowed into the ship's crystal matrix. "He's gone," Alina whispered, her scanner showing no human life signs where Reed had stood. "No," Barnes replied, pointing to the main console where the blue energy pulsed in a pattern matching human heartbeats. "He's everywhere now." The Phantom Dawn surged forward, directly toward the Dominion flagship. But instead of attacking alone, it broadcast a signal to the human fleet waiting at the edge of the system. A signal that carried part of the alien technology's code. As the Dominion vessels fired again, something unprecedented happened. Each human ship receiving the signal partially phased out of normal space, not completely like the Phantom Dawn, but enough to let the Dominion weapons pass harmlessly through them. "Ghost Fleet Protocol activated," ECHO announced, but the voice was different now, a blend of the AI and Reed's consciousness. "All human vessels, advance." The human fleet moved forward in perfect coordination, their partial phase state protecting them from Dominion weapons, while their own attacks landed with devastating effect. In the center of it all, the Phantom Dawn glowed with blue energy as it headed straight for the Dominion flagship. Inside what had once been the Phantom Dawn's bridge, Alina and Barnes felt the ship change around them, becoming more organic, more alive. Walls pulsed like breathing lungs, and a crystalline growth spread to cover every surface. "What's happening?" Barnes asked, his weapon raised instinctively though he had nothing to shoot at. Alina checked her readings. "The transformation is accelerating. Reed and the ship, they're becoming something new." The Phantom Dawn reached the Dominion flagship and did something no one thought possible. Instead of passing through it, the ghost ship began to merge with the enemy vessel, its crystalline structures spreading into the alien ship like roots into soil. From the command center of his new existence, Reed/ECJO reached into the Dominion ship's systems. He could sense the fear of the alien crew as their technology betrayed them, responding to his commands instead of theirs. The Dominion commander appeared on every screen throughout both ships, his yellow eyes wide with horror. "What are you?" Reed's consciousness expanded through the alien vessel. "I am the next step. The evolution you feared." Throughout human space, the battle was broadcast live. Millions watched as the legendary ghost ship merged with the Dominion flagship, blue energy spreading throughout the alien vessel until both ships pulsed with the same rhythmic glow. Then, in a final brilliant flash, both vessels disappeared from normal space entirely. 1 month later, Admiral Porter stood before the United Earth Defense Council, concluding her report. The Phantom Dawn and Commander Reed sacrificed themselves to save humanity. The Dominion fleet retreated from our space after the loss of their flagship, and our analysts believe they fear further contact with the alien technology Reed deployed. A council member leaned forward. "And you believe this technology cannot be reproduced?" Porter shook her head. "It wasn't just technology. It was evolution, a merging of human consciousness with something beyond our understanding. We can't replicate it, and honestly, I'm not sure we should try." As the meeting adjourned, Porter returned to her office on Earth's orbital station. She stared out the viewport at the stars, remembering Reed's final message to her, one she had kept from her official report. "This isn't an ending, Admiral," he had said. "The Phantom Dawn, and I have transcended physical form. We're exploring the spaces between dimensions now, but when humanity needs us again, we'll return. Watch for the ghost storm." As if in response to her thoughts, her computer console flickered briefly. A symbol appeared on the screen, a stylized outline of the Phantom Dawn surrounded by blue energy, before disappearing. Porter smiled. The ghost ship and its captain weren't gone. They were just patrolling a different kind of battlefield now, one that existed beyond human perception. And if the Dominion dared threaten humanity again, the ghost would return to the battlefield it now ruled.